Blog Talk Radio.
Following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. The 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transgender Radio with your host, Mark Angelo Cummings. The show for trans folks by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard.
Hello and good evening if you're on the East Coast, and late afternoon if you're in Mountain Time like I am in the land of enchantment, Silver City, New Mexico. Before I start the show, I want to take a moment to thank my sponsors, thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you can imagine to enhance your feminization needs, as well as the famous and awesome Dr. Vardosian. He is based out of Jupiter, Florida. Please visit the website, and there's several banners up there. Please click them and support them while telling them that Transition Radio sent you. Also, Katie Leon, she's an amazing author. She's got several books out, books you don't want to miss reading. Michael Sherman, an FTM brother from Canada, was recently in the line of fire after an article was done about him. But he turned the negative into something positive and teamed up with Blank Hats for Charity. Get your hats today, and let's all stand up against transphobia. The link is right on the radio broadcast today on Blog Talk, but it's www.collection/stand-up-against-transphobia. But again, the link is there on the actual Blog Talk show for today, and I will also place it on YouTube when I download this broadcast. It is hot as molasses here, and I can't turn on the AC because then it will actually interfere with the broadcast. I've been, all out of sorts lately and not feeling well, heartbroken, confused, so many things going on in life. You know, it's no wonder people take their lives. And many people think that being transgender is the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. There's more to life than that. There's matters of the heart. There's financial problems, and you don't have to be trans to have these financial problems. Being trans, since I've been out for the longest time, has never stopped me from getting a job, but I got laid off because the medical industry has taken a major awful turn, and I've not been able to find something as of yet, and just struggling, which those struggles created a lot of problems in my relationship and so forth and so on. There's just so many things that we as humans have to face, and I believe as time progresses, it gets harder and harder to deal with. I don't know what it is. Corporations are making it a lot harder for people to find jobs. They're just wanting to pay peanuts and wanting to work you to death, and it's crazy. Anyway, this is nothing part of today's broadcast. I just felt like I had to say this because I have been really down and out. I've been more than down and out. And I'm not the type of person that normally shares their feelings, not my true feelings. I always try to put this happy face. Everything's A-okay, nothing's wrong. But it's getting harder to do. I apologize. I know that sometimes I share a little bit too much, but that's my nature. My nature is to be truthful and loving. And I've been misunderstood all my life. And it's hard. It's hard to deal sometimes more than people can even imagine. Today's broadcast, I wanted to talk about twin souls versus soulmates. And how does this relate to being trans? We have many lovers, soulmates, and relationships, but only one twin soul. There's much confusion about soulmates and twin souls. Very often these two terms have been used simultaneously. They're not. One can and do have many soulmates, but one has only one twin soul. In order to understand how these terms come about, one must begin from the beginning, eons ago. Many dispatches of souls or sparks of divinity were discharged from the source of Godhead. These were destined to be human souls. The numbers in each dispatch vary considerably. The least number is a few, but the numbers may go to millions. The usual numbers are in the hundreds or thousands. The numbers are dependent on the maturity of the souls and the main purpose of their journey. The more mature or spiritually advanced they are, the lesser numbers will be in the outburst. The first-timers will be in the hundreds of thousands or millions. This process has been going on from time to immemorial. There was no beginning, and it looks like there is no end. How do we recognize our soulmates? The best way is to improve our own soul quality in order for our mates to appear. That means we would recognize the soul in the person. When we meet a soulmate, there is an instant liking. Then as we come to know him or her better, we find that there is an agreement in things that are important. Our attitude towards life situation is the same, although our interests may be different. The quality of our soul level is very similar. We have compassion, empathy, and realize that the purpose of life is to let go. There is no jealousy arising, and the harmony and love that are flowing to and fro will make us happy in each other's presence. The love energy between two soulmates can only be surpassed by the love between twin souls. Whilst the love of twin souls is always the opposite sex, that of soulmates can be with both. Strong and lasting homosexual love between two individuals is almost always between soulmates and not twin souls, unless one of the twins has decided to change sex for that particular incarnation. That's deep right there. Neither is it likely between souls of two different groups. A twin in spirit may guide a grounded twin. Twin souls are the last two souls to individualize. They are the last two peas from the same pod. At the final separation, they vow to be reunited after they have completed their earthly duties before they cross over to the spiritual realm for the ascent back to the source. Whilst they were still fused together in the same pod, their sexual gender is androgynous and not male or female. Again, something having to do with transgender individuals. It is only when they finally separate into individuals that they take on their basic gender of male and female. This basic gender will be with the twins throughout their repeated sojourns on Earth until they meet again to merge. Once they merge, they revert back to being androgynous. Whilst they are alone, whether they are on Earth or in spirit, although they are either basically male or female, both contain the yang and yin elements. In other words, both contain male and female characteristics in each of them. And each of them has to balance the male and female elements to suit their sexual agenda for that incarnation. A basic male will adjust more yang into his psyche. Similarly, a female will have more yin in hers. A basic male who wants to be physically female for a particular incarnation may do so, as he has both elements in his etheric and other subtle bodies. We have many soulmates, but each of us has only one twin soul. A twin soul has every ingredient to be a whole individual. He is not a soul cut into half. However, as he has shared the same pod for the entire journey downwards towards the physical earth with his twin, that attachment and longing for the twin is always there in the subliminal consciousness. The instant throbbing of desire for the other twin is never far beneath the subconscious. It becomes more and more conscious when the soul nears the heightened state of enlightenment. That means that as soon as we become humans, we have been working and practicing to achieve the ideal state to merge with our twin. This could have taken us hundreds of thousands of incarnations. As twin souls are so alike to start with, they must make the rounds to develop and learn other things so that when they merge, a fused twin souls will be much richer. After the fusion, the entity will not be twosomes, but threesomes, according to the Amra Miguel Ivanhoe. A human meets his twin soul 12 times during his incarnation here on Earth. Each soul is supposed to experience everything in the universe before it returns to the source. It is definitely impossible for a single soul to do this. Therefore, the scheme of group souls have been formulated in order that each soul can go out and experience as much as possible, but there is no necessity for each to gather all the experiences. When they finally assemble together, they would have accumulated and aggregated enough knowledge and wisdom for the whole group, as the sum of the total cargo will be adequate for the entire group to pass the test. The total experience and knowledge is assimilated by all and sundry, and therefore every soul in the group will be just knowledgeable as a whole group. There's more to this, and I could continue it next week. If you want to read further, I also placed a link on today's podcast. You're more than welcome to do so, and I could also add it on YouTube. I want to talk a little bit about transgender history. Although it seems like it's been a crazy phenomenon lately, transgender individuals have been around since ancient time. Prior to the 1800s, prior to Western contact, American Native tribes had third gender roles. These included Berdache, a derogatory term for genetic males who assumed a feminine role and passing as women, genetic females who took on a masculine role. The term Berdache is not a Native American word, though. Rather, it was a European definition covering a range of third gender people in different tribes. The proper term for these individuals is two-spirited. Not all Native American tribes recognize transgender people. From the 1800s to the 1950s, a white person by the name of Joseph Lobdell, born in 1829 as Lucy Ann Lobdell, lived as a man for 60 years. And due to this, was arrested, incarcerated, and in an insane asylum. He was, however, able to marry a woman. During the American Civil War in 1861 through 1865, at least 240 biological women are known to have worn men's clothing and fought as soldiers. Some of them were transgender and continue to live as men throughout their lives. One such notable soldier was Albert Cashier. Jenny June, born in 1874 as Earl Lynn, wrote the autobiography of an androgyne, 1918, and the Female Impersonators, 1922, memoirs that provide rare first-person testimony about the early 20th century life of a transgender person. The words transsexual and transgender had not yet been coined, and June described herself as a fairy or an androgyne, an individual, she said, with male genitalia but whose physical constitution and sexual life approached the female type. In 2010, 5 sections of her third volume of memoirs dated 1921 but never published, previously lost, were discovered and published on outhistory.org. In 1895, a group of self-described androgynes in New York organized a club called the Circli Hermaphroditos based on their wish to unite for defense against the world's bitter prosecution. Billy Tipton, born in 1914 as Dorothy Lucille Tipton, was a notable American jazz musician and band leader who lived as a man in all aspects of his life from the 40s until his death. From the 1940s until his death. His own son did not know of his past until Tipton's death. The first newspaper article about Tipton was published the day after his funeral and was quickly picked up by the wire services. Stories about Tipton appeared in a variety of papers, including tabloids such as the National Enquirer and Star, as well as more reputable papers such as the New York Magazine and the Seattle Times. Tipton's family also made talk show appearances. In the 1950s and 1960s, saw some of the first transgender organizations and publications, but law and medicine did not respond favorably to growing awareness of transgender people. I believe we are here for a reason, and I've always said it's more than the physical. What I read to you earlier about the twin souls and soulmates, I believe we as humans are here to collect information, to bring forth to the next ascension as a library of sorts. I can't find the proper words because language does not do things justice. Our little human minds can only capture a little bit of what's actually happening in this grand universe. I do know one thing. We are here to love. Love is the only thing that matters. We let our egos get in the way. We make stupid decisions and do things that, I swear, sometimes we need more of a psychiatrist for that than anything else. I know I'm rambling, and I know I'm probably not making any sense to many of you right now. I just don't know. I just don't know what is going on, what is taking place. For the first time in my 50 years, I feel fear. I feel like my life is so out of control that I don't know how to get it back. And this scares me. I wanted to talk about how to change your voice without hormones. First, I'm going to give you a little history regarding what tends to happen and then give you my input on the best way to do this. As we age, our voice changes. The most dramatic voice changes are during childhood and adolescence. The larynx or voice box and vocal cord tissues do not fully mature until late teenage years. Hormone-related changes during adolescence are particularly noticeable among boys. The rapid change in the size and character of larynx causes characteristics, pitch breaks, and voice cracking. During puberty, as we learn to use our rapidly changing voice instruments. After several decades of relatively stable voice, noticeable change can occur in the later years of life. As our bodies change, we lose muscle mass, our mucous membrane thin and become more dry, and we lose some of the fine coordination that we had in younger years. And you can see this a lot in the way the elderly speak. It is no surprise that these changes occur in the larynx as well, and this leads to change in our voice. Now, as musicians or individuals that sing, many of us take voice lessons to learn how to alter and how to control the vocal cords in our voice. If we want to try to do a higher pitch, we have to learn how to move that voice box to create that falsetto type of sound. And this would be in the case for an MTF, whose vocal cords have been lengthened and have a deeper voice. So for instance, this is a voice now that I have as a man because testosterone increased it. But if I was trying to become a female or trying to change my male voice, the best thing that I could do is talk in my head voice and try to lengthen or actually bring the larynx on top and create a much softer type of voice. It is not easy to do because you are straining, but like any muscle, this is something that you must practice. Continuing to do this, and there are many, many different exercises, and if you go to YouTube, you're going to find thousands of YouTube videos on learning how to sing. So basically, you got to learn how to sing to try to talk as a female, or vice versa. Because as a female, if you talk in your head voice and kind of bring that larynx up, you're going to find this kind of sound coming out. And I know you should probably all think I'm going crazy, but that's exactly what you're supposed to do. So when you go to a voice coach, that is what's going to happen. For FTMs, what you got to do is actually bring the larynx down instead of up and speak down in your diaphragm. Again, it takes a lot of practice, but it can be done without hormones. Practice makes perfect, and this is something that you can achieve, I guarantee. How to come out at your workplace. This is something a lot of transgender individuals face, not just how to tell their families, but you want to transition, but you're afraid you're going to lose your job. It's very important to take inventory of the risk involved with being out at work. Coming out on the job has the potential to affect your livelihood. since there is no federal law that protects you from being fired because of your gender identity. However, many states, cities, and counties have laws or ordinances that prohibit discrimination based on gender identity and expression. Additionally, a number of other states interpret their existing non-discrimination laws to protect transgender people. It's important to know the law in your city or state before coming out at work. Additionally, more corporations and businesses in the private sectors are beginning to cover gender identity and expression in their non-discrimination policies. A growing number of private sector employees include gender identity in their non-discriminatory policies, including the majority of Fortune 100 companies. Most employers wouldn't knowingly create a hostile work environment for the employee in whom they have invested time and training, says Diego Sanchez, a former director of Trans Health and Education and Development at the Justice Resource Institute. Inclusive policies help a company retain valuable employees. If you're a transgender, you may wish to discuss your personal situation with a trusted manager, supervisor, or human resource professional before coming out to your coworkers. You're applying for jobs, use your best judgment and do your research to see whether the employer has protection against gender identity or expression discrimination. This is key. Look on the internet. Use your connections to find someone who works at the organization or connect with the organization's LGBT employee group if there is one. Being transgender is not the easiest thing in the world, but there are other things in the world that are not easy. We tend to just have tunnel vision and believe life is going to be hunky-dory once we transition and everything is going to be A-okay. We have other problems to face. You know, it's a hard life, and I believe we are here as spirits, having the human experience to grow. A lot of times, life just seems too hard to bear, and many bail out. Because it just seems like anywhere you turn, there's an obstacle. Every time you try to make headway, something brings you back down. But I believe that once we see that light at the end of the tunnel, once we realize and surrender that it is all a learning experience, that suffering and pain is part of the human experience. And we could change that if we learned to be grateful and learn to understand the lessons that we have been given. I don't have all the answers. God knows lately I've had more questions than answers, and it's really difficult. It really is. And this matrix we live in makes it even harder and harder. People losing their jobs. You know, everybody wants a piece of you. Everybody wants money. And I don't know how long the human race could continue this, but it's getting tougher. Anyways, stay tuned this Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Transition Radio TV on Gay Live Television. I have an amazing guest. Her name is Rain Longsong. She's a creative artist, amazing with that brush on the canvas. So looking forward to that. Stay tuned. Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nothing else to say, but guys, I love you. I want to thank my sponsors, my advertisers. I want to thank all of you for being you, for your support in Facebook whenever I'm down. I'm human. I make so many mistakes. But if we don't make mistakes, how can we learn? I just wish we had a little manual to help us to live life a little easier. All right, guys, I'm going to end with an old song that I wrote. It's called It's All a Journey, really acoustic and really rough, but I hope you enjoy it, because it is. That's all it is. It's all a journey. Good night, folks, and thank you. I am me, you are you. Different streets and avenues,
are the crossroads we will choose. It doesn't matter where we're going. It doesn't matter where we've been. It's all a journey. The destination will soon begin. Will soon begin. Red or white, dark or bright, seasons change all the time. Those are the memories we left behind. It doesn't matter where we're going. It doesn't matter where we've been. It's all a journey. The destination will soon begin. Will soon begin. Gay or straight, now or wait, fight this war, choose peace instead. These are the choices life presents. Wrong or right, can't decide. It's not our say, it's not our fight. The real solution is to unite. It doesn't matter where we're going. It doesn't matter where we've been. It's all a journey. A destination will soon begin. 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 I am you, you are me. Different streets and avenues. Which are the crossroads that you'll choose?